This is the first look at a Grizzly G0863 Growler Cyclone that I just got today, and you can see we've had about 2 feet of snow over the last 3 days, and it's 25 below wind chill, and luckily the UPS guy still came today, so the first time I've actually received a Grizzly box that has 0 damage to it. If you look at it, there's really not one ding or bang in the box, so UPS really did good this time. And yeah, it was all packed in one box it was like 2 foot square and a little bit taller than that, and just kind of had everything packed inside one another. It was kind of all separated and broken down into pieces like that, you can see. So it's really easy to unpack it. I think the box weighed around close to 50 pounds maybe, so it really wasn't that heavy. So first thing I did is I just kind of took everything out of the box and got it on the bench, and took it out of the plastic bags, and there's the cone there, and there's the Cyclone unit, and there's a bag retainer below there, and the top of the can, and the plastic bag that goes in it, and then the wheels for it, and it came with a simple couple instructions for assembling it. And first thing you had to do was put the feet on it, or the actual casters on it, and there were nuts that were welded inside the container, so you just had to thread these caster studs up in there, and actually they were a pretty tight fit. I think they were like a lock nut they had, so you had to work out a little bit, but it was easy to do. Then there's a handle that you have to put on there, and there's 2 ¼ 20 bolts, and the nuts go on the inside there, and basically they were a little bit long, it looked like, but when you tighten them and you take into account the radius on the barrel, they actually came out just the perfect length. Then there were 2 latches that had to be put on there, one on each side for the drum, and they just had a little bolt that came with them, and a nylock nut that went on the inside, and that didn't come with a wrench for it, so you actually had to have a little, I used a little nut driver just to hold it while I tightened them up. So it really doesn't take that long to get this thing assembled. Then you drop this item called the vacuum ring in, and I originally thought it sat on that lip up there at the top, but in the end I found out that it ultimately gets pushed all the way down to the bottom of the can there to keep the bag from getting stuck when there's vacuum applied to that external hose there, and really help the bag stay down in place. Then you just had to assemble that bottom half of the Cyclone onto the drum lid there, and that was pretty easy to do. It just took there were 6 bolts and nuts, and actually there was a nice gasket on the bottom of the Cyclone piece there, so you didn't have to worry about sealing it or anything like that. So that was everything lined up perfectly and went together good. So I just put them on and then go back and just tighten them down to snug the gasket down in there. And that didn't take that long at all. And there you can see the gasket just kind of pulled down nice, and it just drops right on the top there. And really nice the way the container goes together. And the bag goes in first. I didn't put the bag in yet, but the bag goes in there. Then it's time to put the top half on the Cyclone, and that had like just a ring in there that's got a bolt to draw everything together tight, kind of like one of those 55-gallon drum heads. So I just got that over the bottom there. You can see there's a nice gasket right there on there. And this is what the top of the Cyclone looks like. And you can see it got smashed and flattened on one spot there during shipping, I guess, or manufacturing, I don't know. But luckily it was just a easy thing to just kind of pound out and make round again. A little tiny hammer there that I made for stuff like this years ago. So a couple taps of the hammer and everything was back to round again, and just check it with that fitting that's supposed to go on there. So then that just sits on there and lines up, and it actually sat nice and flush, and you put that clamp ring back around there. You just have to fiddle with that. I wound up having to actually pull a bolt out of it to get it spread wide enough to get around both pieces before I was done there. And then you just go back and put the bolt back in there and just tighten it down, and it draws everything together nice and tight, and I couldn't see any leaks or anything after it was done. Then there are these, yeah, you can see that bolt draws all the way down tight. And then there's this top adapter. It's a 7-inch fitting on the top there for a 7-inch hose, and comes with a 6-inch adapter, but it really doesn't fit right. It's really loose on there, and the way the hole lines up there, you got to actually pick it up in the air, and it just kind of, when you put the bolt in, it just kind of shifts it off from one side to the other, and leaves a big gap all around there. So I thought about putting a gasket on it and stuff, but I didn't. And then there's a hose that actually goes from the Cyclone down to the drum, and that actually pulled vacuum behind the bag to so you can use a bag in this unit, and it won't get sucked up into the Cyclone. Then I went back with a tube of good silicone caulking and decided to try to see if I could get that top fitting to seal and stay in place with the caulking. So I put a nice bead of high-grade caulking on there. It's a caulking glue sealant type thing, and just spread that around. But it really, you'll see later, that really didn't dry fast enough to hold it or do anything. So then I had picked up this 6-inch hose by 5-foot long piece from Woodcraft over a month ago, back when I first ordered this thing back in the beginning of December. And I just fought with that, try to get on there, but you can see that fitting just kind of rocking and moving, and you see it right there, just picking up. And so I had to go back and drill two more holes in it, put 2 more screws in there. I had some of those self-threading sheet metal screws. So I just drilled a couple pilot holes with a metal bit, and this is it's really a fairly heavy metal, this unit itself. So there it is. I got the holes in there, and then I just went back and put in a self-tapping sheet metal screw, and I put 2 more of them in, and then everything kind of, kept it from moving and pulled it down, and you could let the silicone seal. Then I pulled the old triple adapter off my old dust collector. I decided I wanted to use that one, and that didn't line up with the hole that was in there for that double adapter that came with it, so I just wound up drilling and putting in another self-threading type screw in there that held it all together nice, and then just a little bit of silicone back around the joint to try to seal it all up good and tight. So the actual assembly of this unit only took maybe about 15 minutes to get it all put together there, and there you can see it all. It's all together there, and it's actually a pretty decent looking unit. Nice, had a nice finish on it, and everything was well made and fit together good. So that was the beginning of it. So now it was time to go back and hook it into my system. And what I did is I took and hooked it into the input of the blower on my other blower, and then just hooked it all up to the existing hoses in my system. I really didn't make any changes right now. I'll be tidying that up later. But I'm going to break this up into 2 videos now. Before I had started a video where I had that ring in the wrong place, and I did some testing with that. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back and redo all the the testing and stuff, and make another video about it, just to make sure that ring didn't make any kind of a difference. But as you can see, it's really a nice looking, well made unit, and it's got an easy to change bag and stuff. So I think it'll work out in the end. But like I said, I'm gonna be releasing some other videos in the near future showing the tests that I do on it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.